Recently, I was watching the movie Gladiator, and in Gladiator, there's this scene between Marcus Aurelius and Maximus, where Marcus Aurelius tells Maximus that there was this thing called the dream of Rome, or Rome was once but a whisper, and that if you could only whisper it before it would disappear in a flash. And it was sort of this idea that Rome was this ideal cultural and intellectual hub of the world that now has been lost and has been corrupted. And Marcus Aurelius says that, like, he's like, it's but a whisper, and I will fear that Rome will not survive the winter. I think, sort of in a way, his own mortality um, sort of reflects the state of that Rome is in. It's because he himself is a moral, intellectual man. Like he's now viewed as one of the last, great emperors of Rome, and his own mortality, his own death, is sort of, in my mind, symbolizes the state that Rome was in, and that how that was dying, that the good that was in is dying, and is being replaced. Who eventually gets replaced with by Commodus, somebody who is more degenerate and appeals to his own desires than. Meanwhile, Commodus represents the opposite. He is power. He can control it. He has weird, lustful desires about like his sister, which he kind of acts upon in the movie. He does everything he can to keep himself in power. He even, in his one way of, gaining the people back to his side, is gladiatorial matches, is degeneracy. The way that he appeals to the people is through degeneracy. And the way that Maximus appeals to the people is through, like, allurement, is through virtue. And even they say, like, Maximus the peaceful, or Maximus the merciful. It's like these positive moral virtues get placed upon him by his actions, and people gravitate towards those. And then even Commodus wants those virtues, so he tries to imitate it. So he says like, "Oh, I shall," he can't kill Maximus, and he knows that he can't kill him, and so he tries to imitate those virtues. And he even leaves the woman alive when he captures Maximus, because he's like, am I not merciful? But even then, that is not real mercy. It's not really virtuous. It is sort of a pseudo virtue. And the thing with Commodus is that deep down, all he ever wanted to be is to be liked by his father. But his father only valued what was truly virtuous. And so when Commodus lists out what he has as his virtues, because again, in sort of the same scene, or at least close to the scene I referenced earlier about the dream of Rome, he talks about how Marcus Aurelius wrote to him the four chief virtues, which were wisdom, justice, fortitude, and temperance. And he knows that he has none of those virtues, but he has other virtues. Like he lists ambition, resourcefulness, courage, and devotion. The thing about those virtues is those are not truly virtuous, because they have no moral direction. They're only what would be motion. They're sort of motion without a direction to either way. And they sort of leave room for easy, like effortless corruption. Because if you have the ambition, if you have resourcefulness, if you have devotion, you can devote yourself to something that is not virtuous. You can devote yourself to something that is evil. And so something like wisdom and justice has like sort of this like all good, like truthfulness to it. It's a more positive, clear thing than something like ambition. Ambition can be for anything. You can be ambitious, to be a murderer, right? But if you were truly like justice, like if you're truly just, that has like certain implications to it. And so that's why I think his character represents like this fake moral like thirst that I think a lot of people, even in like the government, have now. And I think somebody like Maximus represents the change that would bring. And even in like the movie, Maximus, like I said, his last act is killing Commodus, and then setting up a better future for Rome. And so I think maybe in a way, America needs something like that. If we want to return to true like moral virtue, we need either a solo man or sort of a movement that will get to the heart of America and allow it to be the dream that it once was, allow it to be the the cultural and ethical hub of the world that it was once viewed as. Because now the idea of America is destroyed. It might as well not even exist. It has been so trampled on and teared down over the past however many decades, since at least the 2000s, maybe even the 90s or the 80s. It was this idea that American is evil, that an American is evil, and that America should be like shameful of itself, and that certain people that should feel bad for what they've done, for what they haven't even done. And almost, I think it goes into masculinity and stuff like that, where it's the idea of what a man was and the idea of what a man should be has been so torn and so shamed upon that most men are afraid to be men, and now they have no direction in their life. So I think it will almost become a necessary for its existence, for something to come along and reset that mindset, to reset that guilt or shame or cowardice or whatever it is. It almost has to be done. And I think it is being done in a way. There are many, figures coming up now that represent sort of the antithesis to whatever agenda has been pushed over the last however many decades. And I think sort of the main one, is the man that, so the title is the man you came here to see, Nick Fuentes. He's a meteoric rise, an insane amount of success ever since, the assassination of Charlie Kirk. He's only gotten bigger, and he probably only will get bigger until he reaches a sort of a tipping point where either he gets assassinated or something. I think that Fuentes is the physical embodiment of of that antithesis that I was talking about to whatever agenda has been pushed the last so many years. He's the antithesis in so many ways, is that he doesn't, what he says, it might be racist, it might be, it might be hateful, but he just doesn't care. He's just so unabashedly himself. Like, he doesn't care. And this is something where it's like, even stuff with like, the Israelis and all that, or the Israeli government. It's like it is. That was a cornerstone policy and conservative politics for so long. And he has started this whole movement of people who want it completely gone. That's like almost one of the main things people talk about now, is like APAC donations and all that. So I think he, in a way, is sort of that figure. He's also Italian, funnily enough. Whatever. But yeah, I don't know. I just think that if I don't know, it might be a little ridiculous to say, but if anybody is that person, he seems to be it. Because even then, he's challenging all these, like I said, cornerstone, but this time cornerstone figures in politics, like Tucker, like Piers. Like, he's destroying these guys, right? He's like completely ruining their legacies, and it's like people have to deal with them. They have to contend with them now, because there's a point where they just ignored this guy. Like, Ben Shapiro's legacy will never be the same, because one, he didn't ignore him, and then one, he didn't ignore him. He randomly came at him, but then after he randomly, now Fuentes is on the rise. Ben Shapiro's legacy will forever be stained, much like Commodus with Maximus. He could never be looked at the same. He's the empire that he had over conservative media, conservative politics, Daily Wire, Fox News, everything. Not even just Ben Shapiro, but every figurehead like that. It has been their disloyalty and their issues are now coming to light, and it will destroy them. And they're now being replaced because of their faults, because of their sins. because of their due loyalties. Alrighty, that's the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Thank you for, listening. If you liked it, like it, comment, subscribe, share, do whatever you want to do. But yeah, this one was interesting because I didn't really know the direction it was going to go in until I started talking, and then the path kind of became clear to me. But yeah, thank you for staying to the end, and have a great day.